I think we're live. So we're just going to wait for Miss Tracy to share us over into the CraftRound the Clock group. There's Miss Tracy right there. Hello, ladies. Sorry, I'm just trying to see my comments. Silly things. Hello, Miss Laura. All right, I guess we're ready to go. So today we're going to paint these three little, I guess they're little paddle boards with a rooster or chicken. I think it's a chicken, a little piglet, and a cow. So I don't have these loaded into my Shopify store yet, but I will after this live. So I will have photos because I have not painted these yet. So we're painting them the first time with you. We'll see how they go. Welcome everybody to my CraftRound the Clock segment, and I am Yvette from Old Times Paint Parties. All right, so we're going to get started because we have 45 minutes, excuse me, to do this, and I'm not sure if I'll get them all three done, but we'll try. All right, so I think we're going to start with the cow, and I'm going to start with the background. I'm going to try and do a red and maybe distress it a little bit. We'll see how that goes. We're just going to grabbing a makeup sponge. I'm trying to get the words out. Hi, Deanna. So I'm going to paint this gray first because I want to paint this background red. And I want my red to pop a little bit. So we're going to try with gray first, and then we'll put our red coat on there. So I'm just getting that covered quickly. And we'll give it a quick dry and then get our red on there. So forgive me if I don't see your comments straight away. I'm using a separate device because I have my camera system on here. So I have to use a second device to see your comments. And I don't always see them when I'm live. But I'll do my best. So I'm not going to try and spend all this time drying everything because, you know, our 45 minutes goes by quick. Before you know it, you look up and it's gone. So this dries fast. Well, there's Miss Karina. Hello. I think that's good. So we'll go ahead and put a red coat on. I'm using some Tuscan red. It's a darker red. And we'll see how this covers. Now, I'll probably have to put a couple coats on here because that's the way red likes to be. And then to distress, I think I'm just going to use a little bit of black around the edges. Let's hope that works out the way I have it in my head. First coat dry, and then we'll go in with a second. Probably should have used a more rustic red. But we're here now. This is what we're doing. This is what we're getting. All right, that's it. In hindsight, I probably should have used a little crackle paint or something to do this, but again, if you choose to get this kit, you can, paint these little ditties out any way you want. So let's get a clean sponge here, and let me just see if I can scuff some of that. And it's not working out the way I'd planned. So I think what I'm going to do is grab, I need a little, I'm rooting for my goods, just a little brush here. And I think what I'll do is flick that on there a little bit better. Let's get a wet wipe and take away what I put on because I don't like it. Not liking that at all. So we're going to start over. We're going to do a do-over. All right, let's try this brush. See if that works a little bit better. This is just an old brush that I have. There's literally glue in it, I think, and it's really, the bristles are really stiff. So maybe this will work a little bit better. Let's see how that works. I think I like it a little bit better now, but then the other way. Bring some up a little bit further. Once we get this on here, we can mess around with it a little more. How's that? I think that's a little bit better. Like I said, this is the first time I've painted this with all of you, so we're learning together. All right, so that's gonna have to do. That's a little bit better. I'm a little bit happier with that. So I'm just gonna set that aside for a second. We're gonna work on our little cow here. So let's see what it's gonna look like. Let's basically move up letters. So I kind of like the black backdrop. So let's paint this little guy here white. We're going to do our letters in white. And I'm going to base my cow in white, and then I'm going to put some spots on them. Just using makeup sponges again. I don't tend to use a lot of brushes when I do these smaller projects. I tend to just use the excuse me, use the makeup sponges. It just seems to go a lot quicker with these tiny pieces. I do use brushes when I'm doing a little shading and things like that, or adding details, but to base them, usually just these. And all are quiet tonight, so who all got these crazy storms? I do want to hear how you're all doing and how much snow do you have? Do tell. We're used to it up here. I'm in Canada, so I mean, when it snows, it's like, oh, it's snowing again. Nobody seems to get too alarmed. But I know when you guys were getting ice rain and all kinds of sad things. We don't like the ice rain either. It's terrible stuff. Because the power likes to go out when that happens. But we did get some of that snow. We got a little tail end of it, I think, but it really was, you know, I woke up this morning to not a great ride to work. It was kind of a nasty ride, a little slippery this morning to get to work, but all right, let's get this on here. The white that I chose is super thin, which is not helping either. Let's see if this one's better. Yeah. Hello, Miss Terry. Hi, Dana. All right, sadly, one more coat. I know this is not the fun part. Base coating is my nemesis. I love the detail part. The base coating, oh, not so much. Not so much. So let's get to the good stuff. All right, I think that'll be the last coat on that. We'll just move these little letters over here. They can dry on their own for a bit, and we'll work on our cow. So I think my little muzzle here I'm going to do with some natural buff. And I'm going to use a little melon too for my nostrils. Let's see how that looks. If I can get it out of the jar. Here we have it. Let's get these little nostrils over here. Second coat always goes on a little better because the wood likes to soak that right up in there. So that first coat kind of gets muted. I'm going to tone those down a bit in a second, but that's what color we're doing. So that's melon and natural buff, I think I used. And again, if you decide to grab one of these little kits, you can always refer back to this CraftRound the Clock segment, this video, and see how I painted them. That's not necessarily how you have to paint them. You feel the same way, Donna, about base coating? I know, it's like, yeah, 3 to 4 centimeters in Nova Scotia. That's nothing for you guys. No snow in Oklahoma, but really cold temperatures. Okay, what is really cold? How low did it dip down, Miss Donna? We're cold up here all the time. We went down to, we're in Celsius, though, mind you, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but I think we went down to, like, when I got in the car this morning, it was minus 15 Celsius, whatever that is in Fahrenheit. You'd have to convert it because I'm not doing that right now. We're up here in Celsius. But it was cold. It was dang cold, let me just tell you. All right, so for these little, I'm just going to take my trusty pencil here and mark where the little horns are, because I think I'm going to do those in the same color. Let me get a little brush as the muzzle. Hi, Miss Sue. How are you now? And we'll just paint those little horns the same color, which is natural buff. Just base those the same. Hello, Rosie. And then I'm going to mark on here, and I'm just going to do this randomly. Let's put some little spots on here, and we'll get those based in. Let me see, where should I put those? Put one there, we'll put one here. And I think one there. I think that'll be good for now. We'll do that much and see how that works out for us. 59 in Fahrenheit. Yeah, well, that's cold enough. It felt lower than that, though. I don't know why. I think it's the wind as well, but the wind makes it really, the wind chill, I guess they call it. I think we only got, Karina, I think we only got about the same amount of snow you got. We got a couple inches, 2-3 inches. Just enough to be a nuisance on the roads. Didn't see a plow in sight this morning either when I went to work. They came out after I got there, so that was nice. That was good. Good of them. I'm just doing my little black spots on my cow. And these, like I said, you can just put them on here randomly. They don't have to be the same. You can do whatever you like, ladies, whatever you like. So this little set will be sold set of 3. So you'll get all 3 of these little tags, and I guess they're not tags, they're like paddles, little paddle boards, and you can use these on your tier trays. If you do have like a tier tray, you can set them on there. Or you can also, I think you could put a magnet on them and use them as magnets on your fridge if that's your jam. Or you could just, you know, use them for a little display, wherever you like. But they're a good size. I think they're, oh, I'd have to measure. You know me and my measurements. I can't look at them and say, they're this big. I have to measure. They are 3.5 and a little over 6, but almost 6.5. So 3.5 by 6.5. So they're a good size. What I do wish I had for this a little embellishment is like a little cowbell. I'd have to root around in my stash and see if I have one maybe from the Dollar Tree many moons ago. My goodies, you know, we all have those stashes where we, you know, tuck away that we're going to use someday, but you never find them when you want them. You'll find them after you don't need them. I really do need to go through my stash one day and see what I have. All right, there's my little spots. He's starting to look very cow-like. All right, I think we're ready to do a little shading and put this guy together. Let's see how he looks on the red. Oh, see, I'm liking that. It's cute, cute as a button. Okay, so I'm going to grab my little angled brush here. Sure you are. There you are. I'm just seeing this now, Karina. 59 Fahrenheit is wrong. It's only 5. Well, that makes a lot more sense why I was shivering so much. 59 to 5 is a big difference, girl. Thank you, Sissy, and welcome. And thank you for sprinkling. Wind chills below, Miss Donna says, wind chills below 0. And of course, we have 40 to 45 mile per hour winds. Great. High temperatures below freezing for several days. Yeah, great. And what part of the world are you in, Miss Donna? What state are you in? That's nasty. Whew, it's a wind chill. It'll get you. I mean, it feels like it just goes right through you. I don't like it. I don't like it much at all. So I'm just going to use a little bit of that slate gray. We've had the furnace just humping so we don't get frozen pipes. You know how that goes. Okay, so let me put a little bit of gray here on this white part. I like to add a little shading on my guys or my pieces. Gotta watch the time here. I think it just adds to it just a little, just to add that little bit of a shade. All right, that looks pretty good. I got a little bit too much over here on its face and I don't like that. So I'm just going to take a little bit of white, kind of pull that back a bit. My water line got a little far out there. And I'm going to take a bit of that gray as well and put some on my black spots. So I'm not going to go right to the edge, but I want to just kind of highlight those a little bit with some of that gray. And you might not be able to see it on camera. We might be a bit too far away, but hopefully you can. But you can see how it's starting to just transform and look different already. On the better side, I hope. Now, if you don't want to go to all this, you know, hoo-ha, you don't have to. I just think it adds a little bit to it. Makes it a little cuter. So that's what we're going to do. Right on. Okay, so also on the horns, I'm going to take a bit of that melon color, the same color we did the nostrils, and I'm just going to shade at the base of the horns with that darker peachy color. Okay, we'll set that aside for a second. And now for the muzzle, I'm going to shade the bottom edge with a bit of that melon color. And I'm just going to kind of rub my brush along the bottom edge of that. Add that color there. So I'm going to give this a quick dry. And already I can see that it's turning out cute, cute. All right, and then for these, I'm going to take a little bit of that opposite color, let's get this stuck on here so I don't have to hang on to them, the Natural Buff. Hi, Mary Lou. And I'm just going to tone those down a little bit with a little bit of that, because that melon is kind of, it's out there. It kind of sticks right out there. It's a bright color. There, let's tone those down a bit. And then we're going to highlight with a bit of white. So along the top edge, we'll add a little bit of white on there. And then we should be ready to get some glue happening. And same with these little ones. I'm going to put a little bit of white on these as well on the other side of that. So we'll still see a little bit of that melon peeking out there, but they won't be quite as bright. I also want to add a bit of white to the top of his horns. Now it might seem a little excessive the way I'm, doing all these little different things, but again, it's what I think kind of makes it look a little bit more, I don't even know how to say that, better. It makes it look better. What is going on in here? You're northwest of Oklahoma, about 60 miles. Now, Miss Donna, I need to ask you about Oklahoma. So does it normally get cold there, like in your winter, your off season? Like how low does it normally dip down there? I always thought that was like see, I know very little about the States, honestly. I don't. About your seasons, and like I know that you guys are like in tornado area. I'm just trying to find, I'm going to take a little bit of gray, and I mean very little, I hope, on my little sponge here. I just want to put a bit of gray on the bottom of my letters. I just find that I don't like to leave them just plain. I kind of like to give them a little bit of a two-tone something there. So I just dabbed a little gray on the bottom edge of that. All right, I think we're ready to glue this moo cow together here. So let us see how he looks together. So I have my little bottles of glue here. So what this is Type Bond Quick and Thick. I just have it in smaller, if I can get the lid off this, in smaller little jars. They're just a little more manageable when you can get the lid off. It's horrible, these lids. They have little tabs in here that don't like to come apart. We'll spend our 45 minutes trying to get the lid off my glue. You know what? I think this one's not going to open. here. Let's try another. There we go, girls. We got it. So anyways, I'll show you the original bottle. So this is what I'm using is the Tite Bond Quick and Thick. So if you need a good glue to glue your pieces together, this is it, because I've not found a better one yet. So let's get a little bit. I just put them in these smaller. I had some of these smaller ones that I filled for a class, so I'm just using them up so they don't dry up. So just put that guy right along that bottom edge. Now with this Tite Bond stuff, you have a minute or so wiggle room to get it in place, and then you don't. It's on there. So about a minute or so, you can kind of move things around, and it dries clear, which I kind of like too, because if you do get any squirts out there, you won't notice them. Already, I like this little fella. See, I made it squish. All right, let's let that dry for a second. I'm just going to put my little nostril holes on here. Get these spaced out proper. Get those glued on. And you don't need very much of it. It kind of goes a long way. Hopefully I got these even. And far enough apart. Let's try that. Okay, how are we for the cow? He's on there, perfect. So I think I can go ahead and put my letters on here while that is drying. Now you can, I don't know, maybe you can't see it, but I can see where my glue, when you put the letters on, sometimes it really squirts out there because you only have a small surface to get that glue on there. So we're going to clean a little bit of that off. So I just use my stylus before it does dry. Like I said, it dries clear, but I try to get the excess off of there so there's not big goopy gobs of glue on everything. All right, that should be good. And then we should be okay to put this on here, and then we'll give this guy some eyes. The poor girl can see. Didn't want to put the eyes on until I can see where they need to go. I like it. I like it. All right, so I'm going to use my stylus, and we're just going to use a little bit of black on the end of that to do a couple dots here for eyes. I'm sticking to my tape. Okay. look good? I think I like it. He is so cute too. I think so too. Yes, I am, Karina. I'm loving the laser. It's a lot of fun. Average highs in January, 51 degrees. Average lows, ooh, that's cold. That's dang cold. 31. Yikes. Cold for you guys. Thank you, Cynthia. All right, so let's do this little piglet next. Now, I think I'm going to do this little guy in that natural buff color too. Now, I might not get to, we'll see if I can get the little pig figure done first. But like I said, we might not, excuse me. That would be my work calling for overtime. No, we're busy here. We're busy here, girls. And this little muzzle too, we could do that. And I need some more natural buff. All right, so we got a few minutes. What are we at? 9:06. We got a few minutes left. We'll see how far we get. I had turned the sound off on my phone, but I guess I didn't turn it off on my watch. Sorry about that. All right, let's give that little guy some dry time. So for the background on this one, I think I'm going to do a distressed, we'll do it white and do some black around the edges. We'll do a little bit of that. This guy's light, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But we probably won't get to that in this video. Again, you can do your backgrounds however you like. It's kind of like you kind of want to see the animals, how they're painted. I put my cow in there so you can see the cow. I mean, he's the cute guy here, not the blank space. And speaking of, there's a few ladies in here that have already signed up for the Wooden Whimsy box. So I started a quarterly box for blank pieces like this, and you get 3. It'll ship out 4 times a year, so you'll get 3 seasonal blanks plus a bonus blank 4 times a year. So also I'll add that link in the comments when I get off of here if you're interested in getting in on the Wooden Whimsy box. You can do that too. But I know there's a few ladies in here that have already signed up and their boxes are on the way. All right, we're going to use a little bit of that melon, and I'm not sure. Let's see if we can get this guy shaded up a bit. 9:09. We're going to have to depart soon. I must leave you soon. Okay, let's get a little bit on this same color I'm going to use, the melon. You could go traditional pink for your pig. I mean, that's okay too. I have these colors out. I think it'll work just fine for this guy. Okay, let's dry that up. 5 minutes to go. I think we might be able to get them together. Okay, now here's where I'm going to go in again and add a little more. So on this guy, what I want to do is put a little bow on his, and that's where I wish I had that little cowbell. And then I'm also going to maybe put a bow or some raffia or something around the neck of that. So again, you can embellish them however you like, whatever works for you. Okay, now I got a little, my fingers have paint all over them, and I got a little bit of something up here on the top of my pig head, so we're going to fix that. And then we're going to highlight with a little bit of white, and then we'll put this guy together. This one's pretty simple, pretty straightforward little oinker. All right, some white. Enough messing around here. And we'll add a little white up here on the top of his ears. Okay, let's dry that and we'll glue him together. And again, you could put a little bow on the front of this guy too. Whatever you like. So you kind of have to make sure these are dry enough as well to take the glue. If it's a little bit wet, it just won't stick. It just won't happen. Two minutes. I think we're gonna get the pig together for sure. For sure. Okay. And we need eyes. A little bit of eyes. All right, there we have that one. Now I'm going to start the chicken, but I mean, we have only 2 minutes left, so we'll see how far we get. We might not get, all the way finished this guy, but we can try our best. All we can do is try. So we're going to do some white on the back base. This little part we'll do in red, but I'll paint it in some gray first. We got 1 minute left. And dry that. These I think I will paint with some, I think I'm going to use a little slate gray on those girls, maybe. Graphite, maybe. Let's use some graphite. Little bit of graphite. And I think that's about as far as we may get. Got a little bit of slate gray mixed in there too because I use the same sponge, but that's dandy. All right. So I will post what they all look like when I'm finished, but I think that was a pretty good start anyway. There we go. So we still have our little oink up there. So thanks everybody for joining in. I'll add all the links and everything to the top of this post and some in the comments. And we'll see you all next time.